You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
Hey everybody, check out the Break the Bell podcast, where we believe your voice is your most powerful weapon. We're a weekly dose of our take on what's going on in the world, mixed with a side of history. Find us wherever podcasts are found or on social media handle at Break the Bell Pod. And most importantly, never stop talking.
Prepare yourself. You're on the run with Remso W. Martinez.
It's either the beginning of a new year or it's the end of the world. Welcome back to On the Run. We are going to finally cover something that was brought by fan demand because, you know, sometimes I just can't ignore everything. And it seems like with the way the past year has been, it's been getting crazier to ignore certain things. Something that I certainly thought any other point in time would, bring stories out the wazoo all over the place. Whistleblowers, insider, anonymous sources, crazy shit happening, monoliths in Utah where they put up by aliens or a bunch of hippies in a freaking convent. Who knows? But today we're going to ask, was this the year that it was basically confirmed that mankind has made contact with extraterrestrial? That's right, extraterrestrials. That's right, bitches. We are jumping straight to UFOs. But I couldn't do this myself. I had to bring on the panel of a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him from the Off the Grid series. We've got Mr. Gary Collins. Gary, how's life?
Good. Well, you realize I've evolved to Bigfoot now. So,
you're one of those people?
We may have to have a whole nother episode. No, kidding, because I live in Northeast Washington, so I always get asked.
Yeah, he's not there.
No, I agree.
No, he's in Colorado.
I've looked. He's not there.
What? Okay, we're about to get too distracted on that, but we have to go ahead and bring on the voice of reason, the host of the Brian Nichols Show. Brian Nichols. Brian, great to have you on.
Gentlemen, so great to be here. And of course, we're touching on what I would say is like one of my top two issues, which is aliens and ghosts. So aliens it is today.
And I got to tell you, I only had a few drinks before this to really kind of loosen myself up. But this is one of those things that I'm always kind of afraid to talk about, because you talk about it seriously, you're going to get put in one corner. But I feel like with a lot of the shit that has come out this year, with the video of the Tic Tacs that were caught by those F-22s, those Navy pilots, by the stuff that the DOD and Department of the Navy have put out, like everyone was freaking out about toilet paper, the Rona, and all this other shit. Meanwhile, they're just dumping it out and everyone's like, oh, that's a typical Tuesday. So I'm just going to go down the line. Gary, when it comes to UFOs and extraterrestrials, where do you land on that?
Oh, here's the thing. Hey, guys, I've been on George Norrie 4 times. Where do you think I fall?
Gotta ask.
Well, I grew up as a kid with big fan.
You were a child?
Of one point.
Gary had a childhood?
What? I may still be one, according to some people. But you guys are too young, but Leonard Nimoy had a show called In Search Of. And also, Carl Sagan's show was still on. So, trust me, I've watched every episode as a kid. I've been sitting on the roof as a kid on our shitty trailer in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert. I would just sit up there and stare at the stars. And there may have been some other things involved as I was a teenager. But I will neither confirm or admit to any of it, none of it. But yeah, no, I've been a believer for a long time.
Brian, what about you? I don't think you and I have ever spoken about this, but I knew if I was going to have to get into this, I had to go ahead and get your thoughts.
It's one of those things I've never really openly talked about, and I don't think it's really it's ever been something that's been the topic of conversation, but I've always been fascinated. My dad's always been big into astronomy, and we'd always go out and look at the stars, and you couldn't help but always question, like, there's got to be something else out there, right? And there's just so many things that just like the coincidences when you look at the pyramids and the Aztecs and the Egyptians, and you go through the different conspiracy theory rabbit holes, which I know obviously are fun to go down, but then part of you is like, well, some of it's got to have a kernel of truth to it, right? And then you look what happens this year, and it's like, well, maybe these people are, maybe Alex Jones, they're not so crazy after all, eh?
And I mean, what really changed me, my father's always been really big into this, but I have to say it was this year where I was finally like, I think I'm Fox Mulder. I think I believe. And it really came from Joe Rogan interviewing that Navy commander who's a veteran F-22 pilot, and he was in the famous Tic Tac video. I'll go ahead and provide links to this in the show notes today. But that video of that thing that is just pinging around off the coast of freaking California, freaking out these guys who have served in Desert Storm, the Gulf War, invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan, flown over Kosovo, flown around the Korean Peninsula and all this shit. Like, these are guys that have to know what they're watching. And when that former commander went on Joe Rogan and was explaining all of this, I was like, holy shit, like something's actually up. And they're admitting that they have no clue what it is, but they're at least willing to say it's not something man-made.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting about Lefevre? He went through Top Gun.
That's the guy, right?
Yeah. He went through was at Top Gun last year I was there. So me and him would have run into each other because we were part at Top Gun. I was in the skiff, but we were part of it. Was Top Gun's a school, so I was in the skiff of Top Gun, and so all the pilots would have to run through as part of the training. And when he gave the dates, not on Rogan, he gave it on the other show he was on, the really long one that I listened to. Shit, who was that? But he gave the dates, and I went, oh, we would have ran into each other. We would have had to have run into each other.
So were you the guy talking to Maverick while Maverick is in the air? Or are you?
No, I was an intel guy. So all we did was every day was a rehash of the movie. We had all the lines. If we got bored, we would sit there and we would literally go 15 minutes of the script. We could go back and forth with that movie. It was pretty ridiculous, actually. Actually, I still have my Top Gun original hat from being in the Navy. I have it. I own it still, and I have a big old sticker. I have my former CO we ran into each other when I was going through OCS, and he was the CO of the Blue Angels, and literally we ran into each other. We got to see the Blue Angels all private because he was my old CO. It was pretty cool. It's a small community, those guys, the pilots, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a small army. I mean, it's a small military. You go ahead and throw a rock on any soldier, sailor, marine at PX, and you're going to know somebody.
Yeah. And I want to get your guys' opinion on this. All right. Because Remso, I had to go watch The Phenomenon, right? You got to watch
Bro.
You got to watch
it. That freaking blew my freaking mind.
Really? Oh, you guys are amateurs. I knew all
what
that
the hell?
For a little bit of it. Dude, I've been in this for 4 decades.
Brian, did you watch that?
No, I didn't get the chance to watch it yet.
Okay,
no, shame on me.
Spoil everything, Gary.
Do it.
Well, no, it's there's some new tidbits in there. And I also went and then I had to go listen to the interview on Rogan. The interview was fucking painful. I'll be honest with you. That French dude couldn't keep track of a thought for 5 seconds, and he's on tangents, and he's out here. And at the end, I just went, what the hell did I just listen to? And that's when I went, this is what gives UFOs a bad name right here. Is
the French.
Yeah, well, because we know if they ever come down and make contact, the French will go hide. But it's just part of it, and we'll have to save them. But, it was just, to me, it was good. Don't get me wrong. But I've watched every single episode of Ancient Aliens from the first moment it came. Well, 3rd episode, because I caught it by accident. Gosh, it's been on a long time. And I went, oh, God, here's another stupid UFO show. Because they're always, I'm a UFO guy, but they're all cheesy and weird. And I used to never admit it. No, I don't believe in any of that. I was in the government. I couldn't say shit. They'd go, okay, psych, pal. And so, I saw the 3rd one and I was hooked, and I went back and watched the other 2 because they were running them. And Giorgio, Giorgio? Is that his name?
Crazy hair guy.
Yeah. He used to drink at the bar because he lived in Oceanside. He used to drink at the bar we used to drink at. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together at the time. Till later on, but he always had a crowd around him. Always. He had a table full and they were always talking UFOs. And I went, what a bunch of weirdos. Because we'd be there, a bunch of guys, law enforcement getting hammered. And we'd look over there and go, oh, okay. But yeah, he lived in it. He may still live in Oceanside. I don't know.
That is crazy. Now, Gary, as you, me, and Brian were getting ready for the episode, I made a joke about Area 51. And folks, if you haven't caught this right now, Gary's got a story for everything. But what you sent Brian and I about your Area 51 story, that was just one of those moments where it's like, where the fuck did this come from? Go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, it's been an interesting life. Trust me, I don't do this shit on purpose. And I'll be honest, people freak out some of the stories. I tell them, oh, guys, I'm holding a lot of this shit back.
You're like a non-autistic Forrest Gump.
Well, some people would argue that I could be more.
Brian is like, oh, I got to leave this show. He just said that.
I don't even know. Jesus Christ. So, I have had about 10 concussions in my life, at least. I have knocked myself out several times as a kid on the Evel Knievel jump. Knocked myself out cold multiple times. And, but no, I didn't know. Like, you guys were talking about it, and I went, oh, yeah, I've been to Area 51 nonchalantly. And,
as one does.
Well, no, it was stupid because I was at NAS Fallon at the end of my Navy career. Top Gun had moved to Fallon. And of course, I got trapped in my last year, and I don't want to go to Fallon. Fallon sucks. And probably it still does. I don't know. I just drove through. I did not stop.
That's in New Mexico, right?
No, in Fallon's just outside of Reno.
Okay,
Nevada.
gotcha.
Yeah. Not too far from the famous, the whorehouse. I just blanked.
Oh, the Moonlight Bunny Ranch from HBO?
Yeah.
I was going
to have some smart ass remark, and then Remso was like, "Oh, the actual place, okay."
No, Mustang Ranch.
Oh, well, I only know about that stuff because John Stossel used to talk about the Nevada whores all the time. So, disclaimer:
it was on the way to Reno, and we would have to go to Reno sometimes. The group of us to pick pilots up from the airport to bring them back to base if we were on duty. And me and another guy, we were heading out there, and we decided, let's stop by Mustang Ranch. We'd never been there. and, in the government van, of course, because that's how smart we were.
Why not?
And so we roll up. I kid you guys. We walk. There's trash falling out of the dumpsters. There's flies everywhere. It looked like a shithole. And we got out of the van, walked around. A girl goes out and goes, "You guys interested in anything?" We looked at each other and went, "Nope." Got back in the van and left. We went, okay, that's all we needed to know about that. That's all we need to experience. But Area 51 was stupid because...
Did the girls look like trash?
We only saw the one. Only the one came out. That's all we saw. We never went in. We were contemplating going in, and that sealed it for us. We went, no need. We're good. And my LPO, when I was in Fallon I was in the skiff there too. A sensitive compartmented information facility is what they're called. They're big vaults where they hide us. And if anything broke out and we were invaded, the Marines were instructed to kill us. I was that guy. I was a spook. I was a crypto guy. Yeah, great, right? They never explained that to me when I signed up. That, oh, by the way, if something goes wrong, the Marines are going to come down and kill you guys first. Oh, what? Great. Perfect. Don't give me a weapon. Oh, no. We're going to kill you. I kid you not. They were instructed to kill us because we had all the keys to the kingdom. We had everything. We had all the equipment. Everything was down there. But my boss comes in and he's new. I didn't really know the guy. I had just gotten to the command and he goes, "Hey, let's go for a ride. We got to go out and we got to load some stuff. I got to be real careful with what I say here. Super careful. This stuff's probably classified to this day. I'm going to have to go around circles." But
Brian, this is when you and I disappear after this.
This is all based on possible real events, but it's all completely fictionalized, right, Gary?
It's completely fiction because I was in the military intelligence, so I make everything up.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh, no, wait. I was a Navy SEAL, so everything's fiction.
There
Base is covered. Yeah, we're safe. Okay, we're good now.
Sorry. Jack Carr, if you're listening, I apologize. No, I just interviewed Jack Carr, and I said that, and he laughed. It was funny. And so he grabs it. We just goes, "Hey, we're going to go out. We got to go take stuff." I'll call it stuff, real technical. We got to go out there. They may have destroyed their stuff. And the stuff we worked in where you couldn't just go get it. Let's just put it that way. Once you destroyed something wrong by accident, that's it. You're not getting a new one.
Okay, so, serious question.
Uh-huh.
Is this stuff like living?
What do you mean? Oh, no.
Like what are we talking about? Like, is it
Technical?
Okay, gotcha.
Thing. I can't even tell you what it is.
I wanted to start from the far edges and work my way in. Okay.
Yeah. The thing I'm talking about is super highly classified. And so we had to go out there and fix their stuff that didn't have the stuff. We had to bring the stuff. And so we get out there, and I don't know where I'm at. I mean, it's in the middle of goddamn nowhere. And we're just driving. He never tells me anything. He just goes, we needed TPI too for this is 2-person integrity. One person can't transport this stuff. And so, dummy me, I'm just the new guy. I'm the FNG standing there, probably picking my nose, making fun of people, which I did often in the military. And so, yeah, we get out there and we do all this stuff. And I mean, we're going through security. There's, the red lights going. We had to get our badges. It was pretty hardcore. And not only that, but we had to, have you guys ever been on a base or anywhere like the Pentagon or anything where you have to walk lines? Yeah. State Department's famous and CIA headquarters says you walk lines. And some of the lines are based upon your classification, security clearance level. So we were walking lines. And all, the red lights are going on telling everyone a visitor's here. So keep your goddamn mouth shut. Don't start running your mouth. And so we get in there and we take care of everything and we're leaving. And he goes, so what'd you think of that? And I went, oh, I don't know. It was interesting. And he goes, well, congratulations. You were just at Area 51. And I went, oh, and I kind of went, what? He goes, UFOs, that thing, Roswell. And I went, oh. And then I was like, oh shit. And that's all it was. Full disclosure, we weren't anywhere near the main base. I can't say where it was. I can't talk about any of that, but we weren't near actual Area 51. So that's what I mean. It was a story, non-story, but it was interesting. At least I can say I was there.
I mean, that's closer than most people. I remember like a year ago, there was the Facebook group which had like millions of people, and they said we're going to go
Storm Area 51. Yeah.
I really wanted to go to that and quote cover a story when I was at the Washington Times. I was like, guys, you got to send me there. Think of the content.
Yeah, I was on edge of going there as well. I want to watch the shit show. I want to watch this go down. And then I thought about it and went, wait, if they really do something stupid, I don't want to get shot because I'm watching a bunch of dipshits. I went, no, I'm out. And I shouldn't call them dipshits. It was interesting.
There were some dipshits. There were like the guys.
I say most.
Well, like the guys that actually ran past the fences, like
the Naruto running.
Bad idea. I don't know what people are thinking.
Okay, so here's where I want to start getting weird with some of this stuff. As I have actually really considered myself more of a convert on the idea of aliens being responsible for these UFOs. That documentary, The Phenomenon, which Brian, you had several weeks to do your homework. I'm disappointed.
I know.
So long story short, what I liked about that was that they're actually trying to chart out why we're only now getting more reports and more evidence, and why the idea of UFOs have gotten more prevalent over the years. And when we think about the technology bump that we've just had in the past century, in the documentary, they basically say that after the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because mankind was capable of atomic weaponry, that is what basically sent a shockwave through the universe, indicating that mankind is actually a threat not only to themselves but to others. So because of that, there's more actual, these UFOs, these aliens are actually coming to us more often to observe us. My only problem with that is it's like, okay, there was that satellite we shot out in like the 70s that had like a vinyl record and like an ABBA album. Think about it. You're an alien. You have mastered space travel and all this other shit. And you get that little piece of crap flying through the universe. It's like getting a letter from your dog. Like, meet me outside.
Remso. It was made of gold.
It was gold vinyl? How does that even play?
No, it was all in one. I think there was a record. It was all gold because gold is non-reactive. That's why.
So that could survive like radiation and stuff.
Yeah. That's why. Come on, Jesus Christ.
Okay. Brian, if aliens are here, why would you ever think that they are actually here and not made themselves known?
I mean, I think
as the guy who's still on the fence, why?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm on the fence, because I think I definitely am on board with the idea that there's something out there beyond us. I mean, just there's so many things that we've seen, right? That whether I mean, I was talking about earlier, you look at the pyramids and such, and like how the way they can line up. And I know, Gary, you were talking about Ancient Aliens. Like that was like one of my all time favorite, like sick day from home from school shows. Like you just binge that for hours on end. And I mean, I guess the reason maybe they didn't want to make it more known, well, is it more so that we're just more aware? Like we're able to communicate more rapidly and document more readily that we ever were ever before? I mean, now we all have a super high calibrated video phone in our pocket that we can just whip out at a moment's notice and start to capture what's in front of us. And I mean, goodness, up till 10, 15 years ago, that was just a mere dream, and now it's a reality for everybody. So I think that might be part of it too, is that it's like more in our consciousness, because I mean, candidly, we're able to capture it and share it more than we were ever able to in the past.
Here's what I think. Here's proof: the Kardashians. It has to be alien, yeah, because no other, that can't be a normal life form. And here's my theory of why aliens come to observe us. Is that
we're gonna go.
I love this. I ate a 3-pound burrito, went on a 20-mile bike ride, 30-mile bike ride. I got a booze in me. This could get interesting.
Wait. The Kardashians.
Yep, there we go.
No, that was a joke.
Okay.
But don't they look like aliens? Come on, they're pretty.
Kris Jenner. There's something up with that lady. She scares me.
Oh, they all do. They're all frightening. But see, I think that's part of why aliens come and observe us is humans are extraterrestrial social media to watch from the outside. It's like them watching Twitter on the outside, watching the human dumpster fire just go on all the time. They probably sit back and go, holy shit, what is wrong with these guys? We would make contact, but let's just watch. And let's abduct some here and there, give them anal probes. No one will believe them anyway. So why not? We'll kill a few cows.
I think they found that some people liked the anal probing.
Probably. What is their abductions? They're recorded. There's like thousands of them.
Okay, here's my thing about it. And I think a poll from like NPR like a year ago said that like 20% of people that live in like Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota have had some type of alien encounter. Here's the thing about all of these abduction stories. They all sound like each other. They were all sleeping. They were all taken up. They were all probed with by little gray men, and then they're brought back. If you're going to experiment with somebody that has the ability to talk, it's not like when we go and we like tag sharks and whales and dolphins and shit in the sea, even though dolphins, I've got a theory about dolphins. Like humans talk to each other. Octopuses, octopi. Yeah. Like they
nuts.
Yeah. But like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just take them back or kill them or use them as continued experiments? Like, why do you drop them off? Because the one thing I've noticed about all these people is that they all have similar stories. And that's one thing, because these stories have been going on for at least the last, 60, 70 years. And they're all people that really, really crave attention. I think that discredits the UFO phenomenon.
How long have roofies been around? I think they've been around that time frame. So let's do the math.
Okay.
So maybe they've been getting roofied, and this is just a roofie, and they go, why is my butt hurt? And it all goes together. Maybe it's another orifice.
Chris Brown, no.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, wow, you went there.
Bill Cosby, what are you doing?
I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, the stories are all similar, but there's so many of them too. You're all, they're abducting that many people. Wouldn't someone see something? Someone would see the ship land, right? Someone would see something somewhere. And the abductions are hard for me. Those are rough, because there's that one. I have the couple in, was it the 50s? That one was pretty credible. The husband and wife, because that one.
Oh, the farmers.
No, it was the biracial couple. And it was, I believe, in the 50s, and Project Blue Book actually documented that one. So they went out and were part of that investigation, if I remember right. But
Okay,
yeah,
I remember what you're talking about.
But you've seen the interviews of some of these people, and you instantly go, "Oh, they're crazy." Then some you go, seems like a normal, rational human being.
Where does Atlantis and Antarctica come into this? Because I know, like, so first and foremost, Atlantis is supposed to be like this possible alien world that's like still here somewhere. I've heard the rumor. Then the other thought is that it has something to do with the Antarctica. I've heard Nazi base underneath Antarctica / aliens are using that as like a landing pad. So have you guys dug into that at all?
Not too hard. I know what you're talking about, though. Has anyone seen the did they release that video of the what is it? Whatever V, what do they call underwater UWV or whatever they call them? The new one that they said that they admitted to of the triangle coming out of the ocean?
Yeah, so that one they never. Okay, so like the Tic Tac video that was caught by that Navy pilot, like Department of the Navy and DOD admitted to that being authentic. With
they
that
had to.
one,
It got leaked years ago.
Yeah, I mean the New York Times. The one time the New York Times actually does reliable reporting, it's about this shit. But like with that video that you're talking about, that one, they didn't confirm it as much. And I think even though, well, obviously part of me is like, well, of course they wouldn't confirm it. We're not meant to know, man. There's part of me that's like, I even have a hard time believing that, because it could, we live in a world where Transformers looks real on screen. I mean, the technology is there to make these things fraudulent. And that's the thing that does bother me sometimes, because at least with the Tic Tac, you cannot deny that at all.
That one's hard, but that one, like I said, that was leaked on YouTube almost from the get-go. From 2017, 18. I remember I watched it on YouTube. And yeah, there's a lot there, but that's the problem is there's so many nut jobs in the middle of it as well. And these supposed UFO experts, a lot of them have no background in anything. I mean, you look at them and, that's what kind of delegitimizes some of it, which is a bummer, because I firmly believe just by mathematics, right? Just by odds, we are not the only thing in this universe, and we don't even know where the universe ends. We just think we do. That's as far as we can see. That's all we know. And out of, trillions and trillions of stars, and last count I heard, there's over 1 trillion galaxies. The numbers
that's wild.
The numbers say there is no way we are the only thing out here. And if we are the only thing out here, man, did they miss the mark. Wow. They really didn't do a good job with the one that's out here. So yeah, I hope there's something else out there. I think there is. It has to be. And not just, I don't think it's just one from one place. It's got to be a multitude. Statistically, there has to be thousands and thousands of other types of organisms, similar or more advanced than us.
So two things I want to touch on real fast. Like with the people that say they've been abducted, what's really funny is that there was a case a few years ago that was, I think it was in the Inquirer, and then it landed on like Maury Povich or something. And I don't know how real it is, but you had these two people that both claimed to have been abducted by aliens, but they accused each other of being liars and frauds. And it reminds me of the story I read in college somewhere, where like in Italy in like the 1960s, you had these 3 Italian men. Actually, 2 of them were Italian, one was French, and all 3 of them were convinced that they were the reincarnated Jesus. So what this college did was they bought a villa near Venice. I'm sorry, somewhere near Venice, and they basically lived together to study them. And they lived there for like 2 years. And at first the men refused to speak to each other. They called each other frauds. Then they began to live with each other. They would do chores. They would play cards and stuff like that. And at the end of the experiment, they're allowed to go home. They're paid a fee. And, at the end of it, they were asked, do you believe that 1, you are still Jesus, or 2, that somebody else could potentially be Jesus? And long story short, they were all still convinced that each of them were the actual Jesus, and that the others were still frauds. And and that they would forgive them. So like stories like that is what makes me really think. Like some people will really go hardcore of this. But Brian, you brought it up, and you did too, Gary. My thing is this, and Gary, you really brought it up a moment ago, which just makes so much sense. Just by the odds, I mean, I think they say that Carl Sagan said one time, like the galaxy is constantly expanding, and it's never ending. So I get shit on from some people. As many people know, I went to Liberty University. I'm a practicing Christian, and I also happen to be a young earth creationist. I believe in the biblical account of the creation story, and that the earth itself is no more, no less than maybe 10,000 years. So that leads to some schisms, some controversies, but that's how I believe. I don't tell people that they should believe it. It's just that what I have come to believe. But what I have told people, especially in the last 6 months as I've really started to jump into this, is that if, let's say, hypothetically, God is not real, then the only logical explanation is the ancient astronaut theory.
See, I'm a little different. I think you can have both. And here's why. And Brian, I'd like to hear your aspect, because I consider myself a very spiritual guy, open-minded. I believe in a divine being or beings. I don't know what they are. I'm one of those people. I'm a realist. I only can comment on the things that I know. Outside of that, it's more of a belief system, right? And that's putting your belief in faith or something more metaphysical, something we can't quite put our finger on, but it's a feeling. And as we know, no one gives a shit about your feelings. So it's what you can prove, right? It's what you can prove. And for me, I've read the Bible with a critical eye. And when I read it, I noticed a lot of parallels of aliens, extraterrestrials interwoven in the Bible. And I did this after I started watching Ancient Aliens. That kicked it for me. Mm-hmm. So I went and grabbed my version of the Bible and I just read it. And I started going through and I went, with this newfound information, the Bible reads differently.
Yes, it does.
Definitely, it reads very differently. Now, does that mean that there could be a creator that we would have, quotes, called the divine because we would have thought it was a god or gods? Absolutely. So, I mean, it does fit together still that you can have God and you can have the ancient alien theory as well.
Candidly, I say, Gary, I think it actually makes it make more sense, right? Because then, then all of a sudden, I mean, I'm saying this as the son of a pastor kid, right? Like, or I am the son of a pastor, rather. I'm a pastor's kid, and I got to grow up, going to church every Sunday, and same exact thing. Like, as I started to think more about it, I was like, this actually kind of makes this apply more in a realistic sense. Because if we were to have, the divines, which are ascending from the heavens. I mean, think about it, right? If that's a spaceship, you talk about, coming down on a chariot, surrounded by flames. It's like, okay, well, now all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah, which is jet engines, the sound of a jet engine. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There's that episode of Ancient Aliens where they actually talk about Ezekiel's flaming chariot, and then they talk about the machine and everything. And there's that, I forget the name of the book. It's like God's Machine or something. And they basically try saying that Ezekiel, it's if you really look at how he's explaining certain things, especially when he sees the vision of heaven, he's basically seeing something that looks like it looks like a freaking spaceship. And I had to go back and read that. And Brian, this is where for me I've really been like, okay, am I going too far? Like, am I thinking about this properly? But you mentioned the pyramids. Now there's a lot of disagreement on the historical validity of whether it was the Jews who made the pyramids, in the story of Exodus. But here's the thing that a lot of people also ignore. Like, Egyptian history is really freaking long. We're talking thousands of years. And I mean, I use the Greeks as an example. Like Aristotle, Socrates, they look at like Homer, when Homer was writing the Iliad and the Odyssey, they look at him being old the way that we look at Aristotle and Socrates being old. So you compare that to just Egyptian history, and it's very vast. And in Exodus, unless I'm wrong, they say that they're being used to make structures and everything, but never necessarily pyramids. And the pyramids, and I've tried to see the non-ancient alien theories for how the pyramids were made. The pyramids in Egypt make no fucking sense.
None. Zero.
No.
Yeah. We can't build them today. Well, because of the unions, and it would take us at least 150 years to do it, and government interference and regulations and red tape and buying off the mafia and everything else. It would just take forever. We couldn't swing it. It'd be too hard. But I agree. I mean, I don't know. Don't you think, bro? I mean, it just makes no sense.
You know what's crazy? There's like, even about the pyramids themselves, there are aspects of the pyramids we still haven't even dug into. Like, there are chambers inside the pyramids that are completely sealed still, and it's like they're like these puzzles that are still trying to be solved. And I mean, you extrapolate that, you go to the oceans. There are parts of the oceans we know nothing about. There's parts of Antarctica we know nothing about, and it's like, we're still trying to look outward, trying to look into the stars. But I mean, sometimes I think some of the most revealing answers we could really discover are going to be right here in our own backyard, and by our own backyard, it's going to be here on our own planet.
National Geographic actually, they came out with an issue recently, and they were talking about why we're still trying to look into the deepest floors of the ocean. And what the guy they were interviewing basically said was, we know more about the Milky Way galaxy than we do what's in the bottom of the sea.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy when you think about that.
Yeah. We've only explored like 1% of the ocean. And not only that, but when you put it into the thought process of, the planet's roughly 4.5 billion years old. Well, we could have an ancient civilization a mile buried underneath Earth's surface that's just there that we'll never find. We'll never see. It could have been made. You never know. And now they're using LiDAR from satellites. And matter of fact, I want to interview her if I can find her, the lady who kind of pioneered that, the scientist. But they're finding all kinds of...
Pretend I'm stupid. Please explain that to me real fast.
So what they're doing from satellites, they're using, is it LiDAR? Or they're using different wavelengths of light. They use both, but she created the tech. I don't know if she created the technology, but she utilized the technology, the first person. She's a scientist. I think she's an archaeologist. Space archaeologist is what she's titled now. I don't.
That's a job. That's fucking awesome.
Oh no! What she does, and you can tell she is just happy as a pig in shit. I mean, you can tell she loves what she does, and she pioneered this just completely, utterly mind-blowing way of finding hidden civilizations. Pretty damn cool. But yeah, she uses different wavelengths and lights, I believe that, or no, it is rare. And what it does is it penetrates down below the surface in a way. So all the stuff that's covered by, heavy vegetation, sand in Egypt, it literally will show you the outlines of these hidden buried cities. It's crazy. You got to look it up. Her name is Sarah Parcak, Parcak. Yeah, I have it written down to interview her. It's funny that I have it right here. But yeah, you have to watch that. And they have found, if you watch some of the specials, it's been on Nat Geo. I'm trying to think where else on Science. There's numerous episodes with her in it. It's mind-blowing. I mean, we knew just a little bit, and she expanded it to the point where they're like, we don't know if we're ever going to be able to explore all this. That's how much she has found with what she's doing. And they haven't even scanned nearly all the places they want to scan. It's crazy.
Brian, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say, Remso, so can I play host for a hot second? Because I'm genuinely curious. So why is it that you've come to this conclusion of the 10,000-year-old Earth? I mean, I'm genuinely curious how you've gotten to that.
It comes from, so for young Earth, for young Earth theory or creation theory, for me, it came down to this, and I think I spoke about this when I was on Gary's show a few months ago. But I grew up, in a Catholic family, like most lapsed Catholics. I had kind of like a rebel phase where I was just really trying to tear everything apart. And then when I joined the Army at 18, I had kind of a literal come to Jesus moment. And when I was at Liberty, I went there because I wanted to expand upon my faith in a very open Christian environment, but I still had a lot of questions. And ultimately, for me, I came to young earth creationism through a different way from some of my peers. And it really came this way. If I am to believe that the Bible is the written word of God and that God makes no mistakes, and that it's not the Bible that's the problem, but it's we who are the problem, then when he says that he made the earth and the heavens and the skies in 7 days, and that he was able to create time that way, then who am I to deny that? And, it really, coming from an evangelical worldview on that, that's where I stand on that. And here's the other thing, from more of an objective perspective, I actually did take a creation science class. I still have some problems with some of the claims that were in it. But one of the things that I began to understand is the concept of time. And what we were shown the Grand Canyon, and we were told, it took hundreds of years for this to happen. It was it was underwater at one point and all this stuff. They showed us something that looked exactly like the Grand Canyon. It wasn't near as big, but, through most studies, you were like, oh, it takes hundreds and thousands of years of erosion and weather forces and stuff to make it look like this giant valley. No, it's actually just from a 30-minute giant flood because of a dam explosion. So, and the whole thing came from what looks old. How can you say something looks old? And, another thing that I learned from one of my history classes was something called the Greek Dark Ages. And this is what really, really confuses me about history. When it comes to what we think of when we think of the history of mankind, we actually know maybe a quarter of it. And that's proven through, written records and found evidence that we're able to align together. We only know maybe a fourth of human history. And there's this one point in, I was really into Greek and Roman history, still am, but there's an era of Greek history called the Greek Dark Ages, where basically you had these small little civilizations on the island of Crete where they were already experimenting with different art. They had their own culture. They had amphitheaters like hundreds of years before amphitheaters will show up in Athens and everywhere else. And there are these motherfuckers named the Dorians. Now, the Dorians were fucking crazy. They were barbarians. They basically went throughout all of Greece and Italy and Crete and everywhere else, and they basically killed everybody. So there's like 1,000-year period called the Greek Dark Ages where there's no written history. So when we look at all of that, when we look at our concept of time, and when we look at how little we actually know about our own existence, nonetheless, life before humans, I'm very, very skeptical of just saying that we evolved from monkeys and that we're billions and billions of years old. I would put young Earth creationism in the same category of evolution and old Earth, because for me, at least, I feel that, if I'm going to be created in the image of God, then I think I've got more backing in that than something that's really only been 100, maybe 150-year-old theory.
See, this is why I love being on shows like yours, because I can start talking about shit like UFOs, and this is just a casual, really cool conversation that completely turns into talking about the age of the Earth, creationism. Man, I love you guys. This is so fun.
Well, and that's what I mean. This is the stuff I love, and don't get me wrong. On my show, I'm going to say on your show, Brian, you probably will not talk about this stuff, maybe, but I am. I've been looking for experts and trying to get them on, legitimate experts, not people working at a car wash and became ufologists, not those people.
So Gary, legitimate question. Mm-hmm. Who would you consider a valid person to talk about this stuff?
Well, part of the archaeology, I want to get Sarah Parsak on for sure. Because she's done a lot of, because that all ties in, because she's exploring ancient civilizations that we know nothing about, that we didn't even know existed. But Graham Hancock would be probably my top tier guy. That's the guy I want. I would love to get some astronauts on and get their feelings about, because they've seen
okay. How do you feel about Buzz Aldrin?
Love Buzz Aldrin. Love
dude. I don't. Wait. No, who was? Yeah, so it was Neil Armstrong and then Buzz Aldrin was. Yeah, okay. So Buzz Aldrin. I've got a fucking problem with Buzz Aldrin.
Okay.
I think that he's either a really smart guy who's trying to dumb down a lot of shit, or he's a really stupid guy that got lucky. Because
I like Buzz Aldrin because he punched that guy in the face when he was like 70 or whatever, about knocked him out.
Okay, but here's the reason. Why did he punch him? What did
he say? Something that you never landed on the moon. Yeah, he goes, that's all BS or something. He went, pow, pow, pow. Take that, sonny. I'll show you the moon right here, boy. And no, it's a tough one. I agree. The moon landing is very controversial. Really is. Do I believe we went to the moon? I think so, and I think we got lucky. That's what I think. I think the cart was way ahead of the horse when we landed on the moon, and I think it was dumb luck because I don't think the technology was really there. But it's a tough one. I think some of it was definitely good PR. Some of it could have been, highlighted and maybe, can we say, reenacted? Exaggerated, Yeah, because it was a big PR push.
So without this turning into a moon landing conversation, because I have some opinions of that. My problem with Neil Armstrong is with Buzz Aldrin is one, for the moon hoax people, they have a problem in seeing how we were able to get people past the Van Allen radiation belt. It's the most irradiated section of space between the Earth and the moon. And with Buzz Aldrin, when he was asked about it on numerous occasions, he either didn't know what it was or he said, "Oh, well, we just got lucky." And then there are interviews.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think you just kind of get lucky with that, dude. Like, I just kind of have a problem with that. And then there are some interviews in the 90s through the early 2000s where the motherfucker talks about there being pyramids on the moon.
Yeah.
So either he's pulling our dick for this one, or he's letting some shit slip and then he's trying to make it work. And it's like, dude, like okay, I'll say it.
Maybe the radiation finally caught up to him.
Maybe the radiation did.
Yeah. You don't know. That's what I mean. I would hate to think that we didn't land on the moon. It would be crushing because I had a poster of the astronauts who landed on the moon and actually the picture of the Earth from the moon on my wall as a kid. So it'd be crushing to me because I originally wanted to be an astronaut, like all kids. It was between that and a cowboy, fireman, cop, and superhero. All of them were in game. Oh, and a professional athlete as well. They were all in the mix. But I don't know. It's a tough one. And there's that argument of why haven't we gone back then? It's a good question.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
So that Google actually tried doing like a $300 million contest a few years ago, where they were basically trying to find a private sector solution to taking an image of the moon from a satellite on the other side of it, because we have satellite imagery looking around it, but we've never actually been able to grab perfect photos of the dark side of the moon. And the government basically,
Pink Floyd did, by the way.
Oh, Pink Floyd did. But like the government said that no one was allowed to do it because they were afraid of someone harming the historic site of the first footprints and the flag. And it's like, they're going to be in satellites far fucking away from that. I don't think anyone's going to get like within centimeters or even miles of where the spot is. But if you're so fucking worried about it,
who the fuck is the government to tell you what you can do in fucking space? Like,
yeah,
what are we
Brian.
doing?
Yeah.
What do you mean? They're about ready to inject you with some vaccine, supposedly. And by the way, you still got to wear a mask and socially distance, Brian. So they can do whatever they want.
They sure can. Golly.
But seriously though, like the answers to some of this shit is just getting kind of stupid. Oh, we don't want you to take a photo because you might harm the area. Well, then set a limit. I'll buy that. I'll be okay. Say, within 30, 50, 100 miles, like give me a number. But you can't just say, no, you're not allowed to do that, because then that makes people want to fucking do it more.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but yeah, I don't know. And now we're trying to go to Mars. And it's like, well, wouldn't we want to go back to the moon first? I don't know, right?
It's putting the cart before the horse.
I agree, but probably Elon Musk said, fuck the moon. That's for pussies. We're going to Mars. And I'm in. Like I said, Elon, I'll be your guinea pig one way. You don't even have to give me a return ticket. Get me there. I'll stay. I'm good. Make sure I'm not with a bunch of ass clowns, though, and I'll be good, which is hard these days. But yeah, no, it's this. Why can't you get Alex Jones on, Remso? Come on, he would answer all these questions.
You know what's funny though? When I was at my previous job, I actually did speak with Alex Jones. And honestly, I have met many celebrities, politicians, big name people, and a lot of them, when the cameras are off, they treat you like shit. Alex Jones, and I'm being genuine, Alex Jones was one of the nicest people I had to deal with.
I've heard that.
He was actually very, very cordial and not demanding.
Did he? Well, you know how it is.
Do you think so? So do you think people like Alex Jones, because here's the thing, and this is where we'll kind of wrap up because I know that Brian's about to pass out because it's past his bedtime.
Remso. I don't care. We don't need Brian.
Okay, if you're down for that, I'll do that. Brian, tap out whenever. This is going to get...
No, see, I'm trying to put pressure on him. So,
Brian, can you do 15 more minutes?
Yeah, I can do 15 more.
Cool. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. With people like Alex Jones, they are right more often than they are wrong, but they are wrong so often when they are right, it's hard to admit they are right. For people that believe in aliens and ancient astronaut theory and UFOs, the criticism I have seen from some very anti-conspiracy, fun people is that they're more likely to believe in a lot of other things that are obviously bullshit, like lizard people running the world and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I think that, and I have a TV show called The Witching Hour where me and my brother, who were former skeptics in this stuff, we hunt ghosts in supposedly haunted places. Some of them are haunted, some of them aren't. We just film shit, experiment with stuff, we'll let the audience decide. But I think like with that, there's so many people now that are talking about paranormal experiences. And now everything on TV right now is ghost hunting and paranormal shit. I think now it became so much of a thing that so many people began to really open up to that now it's considered socially acceptable. And now I think for UFOs and alien encounters and ancient astronaut theory, it's like for so long it was just criticized and constantly put under attack that now, because so many people began to finally realize, there might be something to it, now it's considered socially acceptable.
That's interesting because I think that it goes hand in hand with just like conspiracies in general. I mean, goodness, one of my favorite conspiracies is that it wasn't really the Titanic that sunk, that it was his sister's ship that got hit, the Britannica beforehand, and that they flipped the ships. Like that was one of my favorite conspiracies. I never would have heard of that until I was like starting to go down this conspiracy rabbit hole, which include obviously UFOs and the moon landing and so forth. So I think there's a natural kind of skepticism that the conspiracies help us, kind of breed even further. And I think that that's actually a good thing, like to have some skepticism in the main narrative, because now we're at the point in 2020 where we have government officials who were parroting one narrative a short while ago, now basically openly admitting that, number one, that there are UFOs. And now you have some elected officials or former elected officials going on record as much as say there's like a galactic federation, like that there's an entire alien league.
Okay, you just brought it up. The Israeli guy who said that was why Trump created Space Force. Listen, you tell me that 2 years ago, I say that's a crock of shit. You tell me that after we've just put billions of dollars into creating Space Force of all things, and this comes out the same year as DOD and everyone else is like, yeah, that thing's it's not bound by the laws of physics, guys. I will give that guy more of a chance to give his case now than ever before.
Yeah. Well, and I went into a debate with a friend on this about Space Force. He's an Orange Man bad guy for sure.
Oh,
and
God bless his heart.
And I love him. A good friend of mine. And, you know, he talked about that. He goes, well, Space Force, the Air Force already does all that. And I go, no, it doesn't. I go, no. I go, our space program is shit. And Space Force makes sense as the next leap. As a guy who was in the military and in intelligence, that's where we're going, right? Especially from a military strategic aspect. It's going to space. That's where it's going. Satellites, space stations, multiple going, to other planets possibly in the near future. That, yeah. I mean,
did you hear that they want to put like a refueling station on the moon?
Wasn't that Elon Musk's idea?
Yeah, I think he said he wanted to do that.
I think that's why he didn't want to talk about going to the moon, because like going to the moon is like part of going to Mars. It's like his checkpoint to make sure they have a spot for that refueling station to Mars.
I hope he plays Pink Floyd when he goes there.
He's such a troll. He would.
Oh, wait, hold on. Elaborate on that.
Oh, I mean, just Elon Musk, he's like a fan of the Babylon Bee. He was like saying that they're the best satirical site. They're like a Christian conservative news satire website. And, like that, he put, what was his car, the model, whatever, out when.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I would buy that truck.
Right. That was so cool. Like, he gets it. Like, he's not your traditional run-of-the-mill CEO who's just going to go along to get along. Like
he's a bro.
He is. He'll push the envelope just to push the envelope.
He got a giant FEC violation because he saw that Tesla stock got to like $700 at one point, and he's like, "That's too high."
I love that. That's hilarious. He gets away with it. He totally gets away with it. And hey, I put my $100 down on the truck. Did you guys? That's like $100. I'm in. I'll give him my interest-free loan. Then I'll never see the truck like the Roadster. But hey, I'm game. I'll do it.
I want to see. It's like the vaccines. I want to see other people drive it around first before I feel safe in it. Because like when I was first getting a car many years back, I wanted to get what was it? What's the Volkswagen sedan? What is that?
The Beetle?
No, the sedan.
Oh, the Jetta?
Yeah, the Jetta. I wanted to get a Volkswagen Jetta. And as I'm pulling out of another car parking lot, I see a Volkswagen Jetta on fire in the middle of a road. And then I'm like, I don't want to get a Jetta.
Yeah.
That's how I am about many things. I want to see social proof.
Well, it would have been a Jetta. I don't know why the fuck you'd get one of those Remso. Jesus Christ.
Hey, I thought they were cool when I was 16.
Okay. Yeah, all right. But yeah, no,
we all make mistakes.
We do. But with the technology and everything, I mean, think of that. Think of my friend just ordered a Nest. I can't wait for him to get it. I want to see this thing because I've never been inside one. I've seen them, been inside one. But think of a Tesla, the technology 50 years ago. I mean, technically, people would think that's from outer space, a Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
You stick them in there and put it in ludicrous mode and watch their head get implanted into the headrest, they would be like, what this thing's a rocket,
And it's important you say that though, Gary, because like what we were talking about earlier, in terms of just how things in the Bible that could be seen, they could have been genuine testimonies of things that we just didn't understand. Like we were burning witches 200 years ago. Anything that drastic, like 100, 200 years ago would be seen as freaking magic.
Shit, right now, like up where I'm from in northern New York, like we have Amish galore, and like you'll see them, like they'll look at the Englishman stuff like it is magic. To them, it is magic. Like I remember, like there's this one memory I have distinctly. I was in Walmart, and this is when Guitar Hero was a big thing, and they had the Guitar Hero set out in the Walmart, and these little Amish kids were absolutely just like glued to these little Guitar Hero guitars, and the dad like freaked out, grabbed the kids by the suspenders and rips them out. Walmart, carrying them, kids screaming, and like that memory just stuck in my head because like those kids, those guitars were magic. Like they had never probably seen something that cool in their life, and candidly never will ever again. And that's like that's exactly what happened in the Bible. Like, you look at all these different instances where you have these conversations being held, and I mean, the reality is that they're actually looking at, things in perspective that people like now are doing right now with the things that we have in our own existence.
I'll give you even a simpler example than that. Heck, when I grew up, when Van Halen 1 came out in 1978, I believe, Eruption came out. And I remember when we heard it for the very first time, Eruption. Today, it's like you've heard it. It's been on a bazillion times. Everyone was like, what the fucking kind of black magic goddamn crossroads did he sell his devil? I mean, we're talking like big time guitar players are, what the fuck is this? Blown away. I mean, Eddie Van Halen, once that came out, people were like, he's an alien.
Yep.
They're like, this is out of control.
Thank you for looping it together.
You like how I did that? But really, honestly, something so simple as that. I mean, back then we were like, whoa, holy shit. You take an iPhone, you dump that thing into the late 1800s, you're dead. They're going to kill you because you are obviously dealing in black magic. I mean, it wouldn't take that much for a civilization to be so far ahead of us, to think that they haven't mastered time, space travel. And we know for a fact that the closer you get to the speed of light, that time slows down, at least in reference to the Earth. Well, how do we know that? We say it's impossible go past the speed of light. We don't know that. We fucking don't know that.
And scientists are now saying that they can prove the existence of multiple realities. That's where we're at. We're at the point now where we're like, somewhere in existence, there's an evil me out there doing evil shit.
Well, I mean, dude, we were talking when David Prowse passed away, who was the actor who played Darth Vader. I was like, hold on. I'm 95% certain I remember him passing away, because I almost like verbatim remember Glenn Beck doing a past Star Wars actors who had passed away. And I remember David Prowse being one of the ones, because I remember he had passed away. And when he just passed away this past year, I was like, wait, what? And I remember I posted this, and there was a bunch of other people who were like, yeah, I thought he already had died.
Oh, man, that's a Mandela effect thing.
It is. And the Mandela effect, that's something that I think is I mean, the Bernstein Bears, I mean, that there are things that people are having collective memories of that are all of a sudden just being completely flipped. And that's weird, right? And we're seeing it happen even as recent as now.
Well, yeah. And that's what I mean, because they say technically time travel is impossible, but if you can go past the speed of light, technically, by theory, time should reverse. You should be going faster than time can move forward, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. We don't know. We have no idea. The Matrix could have been science fiction, but it could be the truth for all we know. And I agree. It's when you get into theoretical physics and everything, and based within philosophy and how it all interjects itself, the bottom line is we don't know. And when you look at computer programming as to DNA, the only difference is between zeros and ones is ATGC. I mean, it runs very similarly, and it's organic to mechanical. But it's and that's what I'm saying. We don't know. We have no idea. All I know is humans are the oddest damn things on the planet that there is. We absolutely don't fit.
So true. It's so true.
I mean, look at us. We're soft. We're gooey. We don't have any hair. We're just not. We're very fragile. The only thing that makes us what we are these stupid bowling balls on our shoulders. That's it. When you think of it, that's the only thing that gets us close to the top. And technically, on the
Gary.
predator chain, humans are not the top of the food chain.
Here, you brought this up, and this is going to be the last thing I say before we wrap things up. What you just brought up about us just happening to have those two things. I was not joking earlier when I said I had a theory about dolphins. If dolphins had...
Oh, shit. We're doing the dolphins. I forgot about the dolphins.
Listen, Brian, because now you're not going to sleep tonight, motherfucker.
Shit.
If dolphins had thumbs, they would be the most organized and most deadly species on Earth, because they speak in not only multiple dolphin languages, but with accents. They have sex because they enjoy it. They know how to kill everything, and they can organize themselves to swarm bigger creatures without more than a couple seconds of talking with each other, because they have their own ingrained hierarchies. They're like humans when it comes to their ability to be creative, and they're like ants when it comes to their structure and ability to do things. Flipper might actually kill us. The only reason why is because they don't have thumbs. If somehow on their flippers they had thumbs, they would be the dominant species on Earth.
Haven't you ever seen male dolphins trying to hump female women?
Yeah, man, they do that because they like it.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
I was like, whoa. I was like, holy shit. And between that, dolphins, octopus, there's things that are in the ocean that we don't know about. I guarantee that. There's species.
Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, and the Kraken. But yeah. You got to bring up the Kraken, but you're right, because that's just a really big squid. But no, I just think having these conversations helps too, because I think today especially that everyone is so stuck in a box that expanding your mind. I think this was typical back in the day. People would sit around and talk about things that were not considered normal. And you could get away with it without being ridiculed, right? Without going, you're a nut job. And I think these things are important in a sense too, for what people are going through today, to understand that once you put your place in the universe as humans, that we're floating on this stupid little rock in the middle of nowhere. Literally, we don't know what's up, what's down. We have a basic concept of time. We have this thing called consciousness, but we're not real sure what it means, really. That when you put your everyday problems into perspective and look at it that way and go, hey, all I am is this ant on a rock floating around in this weird thing that we call black matter and black energy that represents 90+% of the universe that we do not understand at all. It's a theory. We don't even understand it. When you put it into perspective like that, who gives a shit if your fat friend told you you're a loser on Facebook? Who cares? You know what I mean? And I hope people take that. If more people could have open conversations like this without ridicule, without, calling you crazy, stupid, whatever, unless you say the Earth's flat, then I just have to call you stupid.
we can't have a sensible conversation if you believe the Earth is flat.
If you're going to go there, then we're talking crazy land. But you know what I mean? I hope people take something from it in that sense that, hey, we don't know. We're here. That's all we know. Don't worry about it. What do I always say, Brian? Change the things you can change. Ignore everything else.
100%.
I was going to say, one of the things for, myself being the pastor kid here, right, is like, it's okay to like question what you've always been taught or what you've always believed. And like part of, I hate to always bring things back to politics, but like that's kind of one of the things. That's why I've changed the way I've changed my political beliefs, because I questioned what I was, what I believed. And I think we need to encourage that mindset. And to your point, Gary, that requires us to continue to, yes, have these open conversations. Because, I mean, candidly, the conversations that we're having that we feel are, maybe on the edge, I think a lot of people out there are actually having these kind of, conversations themselves, either, amongst very close friends or internally. And that's something that, I think we have a chance right now to really, lead the charge in leading people on these conversations and leading really a pathway to show them how to engage in this thoughtful discourse. So Remso, as always, dude, thank you for having us on. And as always, a great show here in the We Are Libertarians Network.
Gentlemen, I mean, thank you both. And just to wrap it up, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I believe we should take everything day by day. And, ultimately, if there's going to be one thing we should strive to together, It's to ask more questions and never stop talking, even when the bastards want us to shut up. So,
Amen.
Gary, Brian, thank you both for coming on. Brian, if people want to follow you and everything you do, where can they do so?
Absolutely. Follow me at the Brian Nichols Show. You can find me briannicholsshow.com, and then all social media at bnicholsliberty, briannicholsshow.com.
And Gary, you've got your podcast. You've got a ton of freaking books, amazing items on your website, everything else. How can the people keep up with you?
MartianAnalprobes.com is
Boom.
my. I'm joking.
I bookmarked that one. Yeah.
yeah. It's probably taken.
It's just Kim Kardashian popping up.
Oh God, yeah, the Martian. There's our Martian ass right there.
If I was an alien and I had to anal probe anyone, why not go for the Kardashians? I'm just saying.
And it's free shipping if it's $75 or more, by the way.
But it won't fit in a box. But the simplelifenow.com, that's where all my books are and everything there, and the podcast, and got some interesting guests coming on, real interesting. So make sure to check it out.
Have we inspired you to talk more about aliens on the show, Gary?
No, I've been trying. It's very hard because I call it the Joe Rogan effect. Anyone he talks to and has on his show, you can never get on. I finally broke the seal and got Jack Carr on. That was the first person I got on who had been on Rogan to come on my show. Rogan, I don't know what you make him sign, whatever it is, but God damn it.
Black magic, man. Black magic.
No, I get it. A lot of them after that, they're probably overwhelmed. It's like, I don't need to do your shitty show, Gary. Why would I go on that? I've been on Rogan.
Well, guys, the Brian Nichols Show, Simple Life with Gary Collins. Go check him out. I'll leave all the links in the show notes. That way you can easily get connected. Subscribe to everyone. Leave them a 5-star rating and a review. Do the same here. If you love these conversations and you want to keep them going. 2021, we're here, you salty bitch. We already went through the tribulations. Now just give us what we want. I'm Remso W. Martinez. I'll talk to you later. Be safe. Be good. Good night. Good night, everyone.
You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com, like The Chris Spangle Show, Liberty Explained, The Brian Nichols Show, The Boss Hog of Liberty, Freedom Strips with Keaton Tucker, On the Run with Remso Martinez, Gingerarchy with Tricia Stewart-Mann, Upward, Libertarian Activism, and Now Hear This. Tune in now and we're going to help you sound smarter when talking with your friends.